Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. How are we all? I am technically alive, mates, but why? To do this show, I guess. I'm going to be on with Curtis in just a second. Yeah, we're going to be doing a show, which I could have previewed yesterday. I could have been like, oh, I'm doing the thing with Curtis tomorrow, and I totally fucking forgot to. Would you expect any more ruthless self-promotion than that? You know what I mean? Like that's the Kev hype game right there. Bigging myself up. Anyway, well, no, it's not slop tonight. Really, it's you know, I'm doing newsy newsboy news because I'm a newsy newsboy. And by the way, that's why I'm not on camera at the moment, because it's more complicated than is necessary, but not so complicated that I can't describe it. So I should have just described it rather than describing why I'm not describing it. But either way, you can't have two feeds from the same camera, so I switch it off, and then we can go over to the... You'll see me in their feed, as it were. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. So we'll be doing all of that jazz in a second. But before we do that, I did just want to point this out. This this is a thing, okay? So, where are we? Here we go. So, archaeologists put together a composite image of what they believe the last surviving member of the Neanderthal race looked like. The last ever Neanderthal, right? Incredible. Problem with it is, of course, that it's just me. What they've actually discovered is that I'm the Neanderthal. And I'll be honest with you, chat, it doesn't do wonders for the self-esteem. It's like, are they trying to give me body dysmorphia? Dysmorphia? Dysphoria? Whatever, I don't fucking know what it's called. Anyway, and it's just me. I am Darwin's missing link. Fucking unbelievable, man. God, I'm an ugly bastard. And if you want to contribute to my ugly bastard lifestyle, you can in these various ways. You can, if you're on Twitch, hello there. You can hit the follow button. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime if you've got Amazon Prime. You can link that to your Twitch account for free, and you get one free subscription every month, which you can use on shit channels like mine, but shit channels that need the money. So, and we can impoverish Jeff Bezos bit by bit, which is always good. Anyway, yes, she yes. So yeah, you can do that. You can gift memberships to the community. You can do bits messages. 200 bits or more will get you a text to speech. Although, having remembered that, I now have to turn that off because we don't need the distractions, do we now? All Europeans have 4% Neanderthal DNA. Well, we're not European anymore, 255. We voted... This is the Brexit I voted for, is to get rid of all 4% of the DNA that is Neanderthal. Okay? Otherwise, that's Brexit betrayed. Fact. So, yeah, you can do bits messages. You can do super chats, or the Streamlabs link below. $2 or more, that will get you text to speech. Although, again, not during the show with Curtis, because I need to try and concentrate. Try and muster my scanty forces of concentration for talking about the news, like a newsboy. Yes, you can do all of that. You can help me on Patreon and PayPal. I've got Discord, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Did I say Facebook? Maybe, I don't fucking know. Anyway. Yes, if you're on YouTube, hello there, YouTube. You can do super chats. You can, and I'll read them out, albeit after the show, because again, need to try and concentrate. Yeah, you can become a member for 99 pence, or indeed gift memberships to the community if you're feeling extraordinarily, what's the word? Generous, nice, awesome, sex. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so we're going to go over to Curtis. Let's have a little look what we got going on here. Yes, I accept cookies. Jesus, again, this is not the Brexit I voted for. Is that? I don't think that's the right thing at all, is it? Camera. High definition. Touch up my appearance. You seeing? Hang on. I wasn't going to show you behind the scenes, but look at that. They have an option to touch up my appearance. Now, I mean, I probably shouldn't be fucking with tech, but it's giving me the option. So, touch up my appearance. What does that do? Moderate. Let's go all the way to the top. Is it going to do anything? No, I'm still an ugly cunt. Cool. Yeah. Looks less of a Neanderthal filter. Fuck off. I'm not a Neanderthal, okay? Especially because that's named after the Neander Valley, which is in Germany, which is just deeply offensive to the British soul. Yeah, that's okay. Echo cancellation. Reduce mic background noise. No, fuck all that. Virtual background. No, thank you. There we go. Display my name as the K-Dog. Kevye West. Into the studio.
No, I should have had that right there. I should have just had it right there.
No, it's fine.
Here's the man. Oh.
Yeah, remove me. I'll go to the bottom.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello,
You right?
hello, Sarah. I think this is our first time meeting.
Oh,
It is,
yes,
it's nice
it
to
is.
meet
Sarah's the
you.
new member
Hello.
of Turn Leftoids.
Nice.
Leftoids. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yes, good, thank you.
Awesome.
Got your paddy shirt on.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Glasgow
It's
Celtic
Celtic.
Football Club. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you the Curtis Daly off of the telly?
I don't, because I was just saying to Sarah, I was very disappointed in myself today.
I don't know. Look, can I have your autograph, please?
You can, I'll give you a dance instead, actually.
That'll do.
Exclusive
Free?
dance.
Let's fucking go. How are you getting on?
Yeah, I don't know, I was just breaking it down, I was like, but then obviously it's always hindsight, but I was speaking to Helena, and she said I would have gone down the angle of there's no correlation between benefit cuts and all levels of benefits and people in work. Because like Denmark has more people in work, yet they've got higher benefits. I was like, yeah, of course, but it was a fucking shit show though. They just wouldn't stop interrupting.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You've got to bear in mind they're trying to set you up to fail. Like,
yeah.
So you sort of should count yourself lucky as the leftist that they're not putting you in the show with Lee Anderson, where the leftist.
Oh,
in
we'd
the
never
cock
go on that
chair.
show in the cuck chair.
Yeah,
oh my god.
fucking
Reem
hell.
was in the cuck chair the other day. So she was in the cuck chair. I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
I'd never go on that show. No way.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that. I mean, that show exists. That's got to be a kink thing. There has to be sex.
Yeah,
That's
it looks
really
like
good
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly grab my water, please?
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
back in a sec.
Yeah. Yeah. So the fact that you're going on to the show, they're trying to set you up to fail, and so the fact that you did even a reasonable job is a W, man. Just it doesn't matter if it didn't go perfectly. The fact that you've got a space where it's just far right talking point wank, and you've got a progressive opinion there. That's, I think, worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't even matter about the facts, though, does it? Because it's all vibes. But I know Alyssa went on the Chewy News website. She watches it on there, and she's like, "You don't want to look at the comments." I'm like, "Yeah, but they're all those people who go on the website are like, you ain't gonna reach them anyway.
Mm.
But they keep calling me rude. But I was like, this is the second time where I was interrupted, and they were saying I was rude.
I mean, it's time to fuck off. Actually, no, don't do that. That's why I don't get invited on those.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, stop interrupting me, you fucking wanker.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
And they just cut instantly to ads.
I'd actually love to see you on there.
Well, that's. I mean, I find it difficult to just stomach these fucking people, man.
Yeah.
I just want to.
Oh
shout
yeah,
at them,
100%. You definitely need some sort of like. You just you have. To
I
let
don't have
so
the
much shit
patience
go.
for it. You've got you and Helena and people. You've got the patience of a saint, man. Like you can just cut through the nonsense. Rather, I just want to go. You're fucking lying. You're all fucking lying. Stop lying, you pricks. Like, and that's not. They're not going to ever accept that. So.
Hello, Kev's audience.
Yes, yeah. I should point out for both yourself and Sarah that you are live on my end. So. That probably don't say libelous things. I guess I don't know.
They won't hear me.
What, that Jeremy Corbyn is in the NAZI party? That one.
Well, I still do that joke every time.
You do. don't
That
you?
bit at the end with him going, "Oh, turn point left."
Adolf scare, jump scare.
Yeah, and the other time I just went. I started going. What was it? Mein Führer. I think I screamed into the microphone. And I thought, like, people in my chat keep saying, like, you asked me to do a 30-second ad thing for your.
Oh yeah.
Which I will get round to eventually, but I don't know what to put in there. And I thought I want to
make
do
it
that
funny.
joke. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I want to do that joke, but like,
Oh,
I don't want people.
probably not.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Firstly, yeah, you don't want to
If
put
people
that on
don't
the
know
channel.
you, they'd be like, if for those that wouldn't know you, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
you know, but I also don't want people to turn up to my channel thinking it's like news, because that's not exactly what I do.
Yeah, no, I think you should just do your vibe, do your jokes and stuff, but yeah, maybe hold the Nazi jokes until you get to your stream, and then be like, oh, this guy's spicy.
When you
like
say
him,
again, just for clarification's sake for everybody, I don't do Nazi jokes. I do jokes about
Yeah.
Nazis.
I now have my impressions of you already, Kevin.
No, that's fair enough. You're
and
quite
it's
right.
not looking good. No, I'm joking. I'm just mesmerised by your background. I feel like I'm in space right now.
Yeah, well,
It's such a
yeah.
cool background. I love
It's
it.
so nice.
And it's cheap as fuck. It was like a second-hand projector thing.
I really like it.
Yeah, I just because I needed something on the wall behind me. Mm.
Goes really well with your Celtics shirt. Maybe one
Thank
day
you.
you guys will win.
How are you
Okay.
feeling now though? I messaged you about obviously your accident, but how you
Oh
feeling?
yeah, no, I'm absolutely fine now. Thankfully, yeah, I still
What
don't have a
happened?
fucking car. I was run into. I was the victim, okay, and I was in hospital
God.
overnight. It was fine in the end. It was just a bit of whiplash, really. And they did give me some hella fucking awesome drugs. Oh my god,
Nice.
I was off my face.
Nice.
Although I
It's
didn't.
worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, but then the come down's always bad anyway. But yeah,
Terrible.
but you know, I'm absolutely fine now. Yeah, thank you.
Good.
I'm glad to hear it. You're on Helena's stream the other night. It was fucking hilarious. You had me in stitches.
Yeah, well, look, whenever I'm watching you, Curtis, you're like my muse. You inspire me.
Oh, honestly, it's so fun. Oh,
Well, I love doing those streams with Helen because what I like to have is like a clever person to like bounce my nonsense off of. Because then, like, she's doing like actual content reaction to stuff, and I'm just going like, "Oh, these people are wankers," you know. That's what I add to the table.
Well, first of all, we need that, and secondly, when you come on normal islands, you're like the brain box anyway, so it's really good.
Oh,
You've got
thank
both.
you.
You've got best of both worlds.
Well, I do try and news it up for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I go live?
Yeah. Let me just do
Remove me from stage.
remove you, and then when we get to comments, Sarah, have it on split, add you to stage, and remove it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Coolio.
Did you just say Coolio?
Coolio.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I'm not even centered. There we go.
Okay then.
Which now means I'm sitting at a slightly weird angle. But there we go. Okay, I'm now muted, so they can't hear me. So now I do some shilling. No, actually, I already did shilling, didn't I? But I'll do it again. Fuck it. What about your car? Oh no, my car's completely fucked. Like it's scrapped. Yeah, no, it's gone. To salvage it would have been far more expensive than to just, move on, so to speak. Anyway, so you can give me money if you wanted to. I have turned off the noise alert though because we're going to be talking about the old genocide Reno, so it would be possibly a little bit inappropriate for me to be like, so yes, the Israeli government have committed more war crimes, and then Lord Fritus has donated $3. These bunkify. Like it would be at best incongruous. Is their insurance coughing up though? Well, we'll wait and see. I am not confident. So yeah, we've got 3 topics tonight. We've got obviously the Gaza-Israel kerfuffle, genocidal kerfuffle. We've got what else have we got going on? The more of the Labour cuts thing. I can hear you, Kev. You're supposed to be able to fucking hear me. What are you talking about? Yeah. Oh, look, I'm muted on there. They can't hear me, but you can hear me. Yes. That was entirely my intention. So we got that. We got Torsten Bell, the very poshly named posh boy pensions minister, talking shite about the old government cuts. And then we've got Gareth Southgate, former England manager, and talking about how men are falling behind or something. So I say or something. I've got fucking notes here. It's as always with these things. Kev, I can hear you. I don't know what you do. This doesn't need to be a meme. This is not a meme. Stop memeing. Making me fucking paranoid. I've already discovered I'm a fucking Neanderthal today. I don't need you also fucking with my head noises. Anyway, as always with these, the men and boys are falling behind. Like, yeah, there's an element of truth to it. Yeah, there's an element of truth to what's being said, but also, like, there are bigger reasons behind it that no one wants to go into. I face mashed you with the Neanderthal, and it's just the Neanderthal. Again, you can't face mash me with it because literally it's the same fucking thing. Is Kev muted? Suck my dick. Thank you to Mamoof with 27 months and King of Silver River with 5 months. We're now on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger Hitler. Okay, we'll just turn that down, I think. You don't need to be hearing that. Why is Kev speaking German? Nein! That is the word I know in German. Just in case any British citizens are watching, renew their passport. The prices are going up, blah, 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 blah. Yes, good point, Katie, yes. But I've already got my blue passport, so I don't need shit. Okay, I'm going in.
Welcome back to Normal Island. I'm Curtis Daly, and tonight I'm joined by good friend of the show, Kevin Logan. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm extraordinarily well, and of course, any time with you is not time wasted, my friend.
Absolutely. There's never enough time with you, and I'm looking forward to this next hour. We've got some good stories, but obviously we've got some amazing insights from Kevin because you're a pretty swell guy.
Well, yeah, but I'm not a TV pundit like some people, though. So
yeah, don't you're flattering me. We should probably get on with the show before we start. I don't know. Spending the next hour just complimenting each other. We've got news to speak about. As always, remember to like the stream, and if you're not a subscriber, then hit that button. We've now just surpassed 19,000 subscribers, but we'd really like to get to 20,000, so please help us get there. We'll be getting to your comments at the end of the show as well, so make sure you're busy in the chat. But onto our first story. Yesterday, before dawn, as Palestinians gathered for their pre-dawn Ramadan deal, Israeli airstrikes killed over 400 in an instant. The IDF knew they would be assembled, vulnerable and easy targets. It comes after 2 weeks of Israel blocking all aid, food, fuel and medicine into Gaza, and now, as of today, a new ground invasion has been launched. Let's take a look at this video from Dr. Mohammed Mustafa, a British doctor from Middlesbrough.
We've worked throughout the entire night. We haven't stopped. The bombing has been non-stop. We've run out of ketamine. We've run out of propofol. We've run out of all painkillers. We can't sedate anyone. We can't give them any analgesia. When we intubate people, they wake up and they're choking because we have no sedation. There are 7 girls getting their legs amputated, no anesthesia. The bombing is still going on. The room is still shaking. I haven't slept. We went to bed at about 1 o'clock, and at 1:30 the bombing started. It's about 10 a.m. now. I've just gone back to my room. I'm lightheaded, I'm dizzy. And I mean, it was just mostly women and children, burnt head to toe, limbs missing, heads missing. There's a video I put up on my story of me doing a chest drain. The gentleman that did the chest drain, and he died on the way to the CT scan. There's another video of 3 girls laying on a bed. That's his 3 girls, who are now orphaned. Their mother didn't even make it into the hospital. She was killed along with their other sister. I don't know what to tell you. I was here in June, nothing to this intensity. This is unbelievable, and the bombing is still going on. The rooms are still shaking. The screams are everywhere. It's insane. I need to just take 15 minutes, or even an hour, just to rest, to go back in there and go back down again. I feel awful to leave, but I've been there all night and I haven't stopped, and my legs are shaking and I feel dizzy and lightheaded. The smell of burnt flesh is still in my nose.
I don't know how you can watch that and come to any conclusion that what Israel's doing is sickening. Now, Netanyahu's trial was set to resume yesterday, but instead war broke out. Israel had failed to uphold agreements, collapsing hostage negotiations rather than seek diplomacy. Netanyahu, of course, chose escalation, declaring all talks would now happen under fire. He is also now trying to remove Shin Bet chief Ronan Bar, who was investigating these failures. Meanwhile, 3 of Netanyahu's advisors are under investigation for allegedly taking money from Qatar. He faces 3 corruption cases, accepting lavish gifts from a billionaire, attempting to bribe a major newspaper, and pushing telecom regulations for positive media coverage. His government is drowning in scandals, with top aides accused of blackmail, leaking classified intel, and manipulating public opinion to cover up his failures for October 7th. Israelis are protesting, demanding his resignation, but as long as war rages, Netanyahu can delay elections, silence critics, and hold on to power, no matter the cost. Kevin, I just want to get your initial thoughts of last night's bombing, and then I want to ask, this war isn't about Hamas. It's about him, isn't it? I mean, he's clearly trying to bury the investigations by escalating the conflict.
Yeah, 100%. It's the fundamental tenets of this war have not changed in the 17 months of its ongoing existence. Now, of course, the war itself obviously goes on a lot before October 7th, but not that you would know that from the media, of course. But yeah, it's essentially a matter of him trying to cling on to power in the most corrupt way possible in order to save his corrupt government, and doing a genocide in order to bring it about. It might be genuinely the most petty genocide that's ever existed. It's just for the sole power and corruption of one man and his clique, basically. But of course, he's using the vehicle of Zionism, which has been amply aided and abetted by Western governments over the course of a long time, and of course the sickness at the heart of Israeli society, where I believe I wrote in saying that only 4% in a recent poll of Israeli citizens said that the IDF had gone too far. That's worrying. That's the end result of ethno-nationalist genocidal rhetoric over the course of a very long time. I mean, I was stunned, frankly, by the thing you just played. I hadn't seen that clip of the doctor. Genuinely breathtaking stuff. I don't know how anyone can possibly look at this and describe it as anything other than genocide. That is exactly what is taking place here. But again, not that you would know that from the media, because they're not portraying it in this way. Also, I think it's worth pushing back on the idea that this was ever actually a ceasefire, either in intention or in reality. In intention, it was clearly just Trump wanted the good headline to pretend that he's, doing peace, whilst now, of course, he's bombing the Houthis and threatening to go to war with Iran. So, that's, just all levels of hell would break out if that took place. So it was never a ceasefire in intent, and in practicality, during that quote-unquote ceasefire, Israel continued its attacks, killing over 100 in the Gaza Strip, and moving tanks into the West Bank as well, which again, people aren't even focusing on at all, but they're continuing to do land requisitions and stealing people's houses and things like that. This is an abomination. And ultimately, when people look back and ask how they would have acted during the Holocaust, the capital H Holocaust, during the 1930s and 40s in Europe, the answer to that question is exactly what you're doing now. However you're behaving now towards this situation is exactly how you would have acted in that situation. If you are speaking out and trying to stop this, I think you'll be viewed at the very least as being on the right side of history, and if you're actively aiding and abetting this, you will be remembered in many respects in the same way that the Nazis are currently remembered, and I think that's worth bearing in mind.
Well, if we were to ask the question who would be in favour of Nazi Germany if they were alive that day, you're right, we have that question answered. Just look at the people defending Israel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very clear.
It's not just the people defending Israel, but it's the Israeli leaders themselves. Like, you
absolutely.
knew that this was going to be bad over the last couple of days because Ben Gvir re-entered the Israeli cabinet. Smotrich literally shouting down the bereaved family members in the Knesset. They had a hearing with people whose the hostages of their families had died, and he literally just shouted them down. Reminiscent, I think, of the People's Court, the Roland Freisler People's Court of Nazi fame, in some respects at least in terms of humiliating people in dire situations. And again, he's gambled with the lives, not just, of course, of tens of thousands of Palestinians, but also with the lives of his Israeli citizens as well. People who are being held hostage, who he could have gotten a deal to get out many, many months ago without any of this bloodshed. He has, for his own selfish, disgusting purposes, killed, basically. He has their blood on their hands too. It's breathtaking levels of evil. And I don't know how anyone can possibly put up with this. I was unfortunate enough to listen to our own dear leader, Sir Keir Starmer, KC, being asked about this in Parliament today during Prime Minister's questions, and he said that Britain was doing everything in its power to bring this to a conclusion, except, of course, literally any of the things it could do, like sanctions, putting pressure on through the United Nations, or indeed through back channels diplomatically, stopping arms sales. Literally, we are aiding and abetting it, because the same problem I think I raised last time I was on this show is still happening. Planes from RAF Akrotiri, the base we have in Cyprus, again, vestiges of imperialism, are doing reconnaissance flights over Israel to tell Israel when and where to bomb. We are actively engaging. Our tax money is being used to actively engage and further the genocide of the Palestinian people.
I'm glad you brought this back to the UK, because that's what I want to bring up on my next point, which is that UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy, he stated in Parliament that Israel's blockade of Gaza breached international law. Now, this is sparking speculation that the UK government was shifting its stance on Israel.
So what discussions did he have with G7 colleagues about what can be done about this provocative action during Ramadan? And what consequences are there for what people are saying is a breach of international law?
Well, my honourable friend is right. This is a breach of international law. Israel, quite rightly, must defend its own security. But we find the lack of aid, it's now been 15 days since aid got into Gaza, unacceptable, hugely alarming and very worrying. And we would urge Israel to get back to the amount of trucks that we were seeing going in, way beyond 600, so that Palestinians can get the necessary humanitarian support they need at this time.
So the government, they changed their stance. You know, all the protests and campaigning finally paid off. Have they found their heart? No. Within 24 hours, Downing Street contradicted him, stating that only international courts could determine breaches of international law. Of course, they've forgotten about the ICC and the ICJ. David Lammy later softened his statement, saying he could have been clearer. Kevin, this reminds me of whenever Donald Trump says something and then his advisors sort of get together and put out a statement and say, oh, he didn't mean it, he didn't mean it. In this case, though, Lammy actually sounds like the government might shift, only for them to quickly undermine him and express their continued support for genocide.
Well, yeah, because for once he was reacting like a human being rather than the pathetic political calculation robot scumbag that he actually is. He realised, obviously, that denial of basic human rights like food and water and electricity and so on was a breach of human rights and a war crime. Told the truth for once in Parliament, and then was told the official line, because of course we don't set the policy with regards to Israel of the British government. That's set in Washington DC and Tel Aviv. Those are who make the decisions as to what our British government actually think and believe and do. It's embarrassing levels of cuckery, so to speak. It's tragic. Keir Starmer was a former human rights lawyer. There is no excuse at all, under any circumstances, for him behaving in the way that he has. And even if you want to look at it just from a purely selfish British point of view, which one oughtn't, of course, but even if you do subscribe to that kind of mindset, the British government have said nothing, not a single word of condemnation for the now 18, because another one was killed yesterday, 18 British citizens that have been murdered by Israel in its occupation and genocide of Gaza since October the 7th of 2024. Sorry, 2023. What am I talking about? Good Lord, time flies. Yes. They've said nothing in condemnation to that whatsoever, and it's genuinely quite chilling to see the way in which they dance on the head of a pin every time this sort of thing comes up, to know that if the Israeli government want to kill you, your government won't even launch any kind of protest on your behalf, let alone seek actual international law redress against the criminals who murdered you. They will actively participate and defend your murder.
It's a good point you make there about Lammy, though, because that was like a knee-jerk, humane reaction all of us would have. oh,
Yeah.
this is preposterous, this in breach of international law. They need to return to the levels of aid they had before, even though it was insignificant. But at least he was acknowledging that. But that's the point when it comes to those who get closer to power. It doesn't matter what they feel, what they think. They're going to toe the party line. And I have absolutely zero sympathy for Lammy. I don't think that this makes him a better person, because
No, they're all
at the end of the
ghouls,
day, it's
yeah.
not what you say, it's your actions. So he could say, I mean, you could have a conversation with him in private. He might be like, yeah, there is a genocide. I don't really care if you're going to still then public facing, going to support these policies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So-
there's no excuse for any of it. No,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and of course, it must be borne in mind that denial of aid was during the time where we were being told that Israel were observing a ceasefire.
Exactly. They always look. At any time, this is gaslighting to the peak, right?
Yeah.
Israel are the ones that always break the ceasefires, and they're not even really ceasefires. To jump on your point at the beginning, you were saying obviously this last sort of fake ceasefire, because it was, they were moving in with their tanks.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
they don't know the definition of ceasefire. They were
No.
still
They
they
did.
were
They
still
were. They
killing
were.
people.
Yeah, they were still killing people. Over 100 people were murdered by Israel during the quote-unquote ceasefire. They were not allowing people back into northern Gaza, even to try and pick up the semblances of their lives and homes and property that exists in northern Gaza, because, of course, they're looking to annex that territory, of course, because, again, we must bear in mind the larger context for it, which is the land grab, ethno-genocidal intention of the Greater Israel Project, which is why evangelicals in America are the great backers of this, of course, in order to bring about Armageddon. Yeah, seriously, in the 21st century, that is the political motivation for this event. Absolutely mad shit. Yeah, so they've continued to do land grabs and home stealings in the West Bank as well. There were no semblance of intention or practicality that they actually engage in a ceasefire.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there, because we're going to move on to our second story. So, the full details of the benefit cuts have been released, but before we get into that, you really need to see this car crash interview from Labour MP Torsten Bell trying to defend these cuts, and trust me, it's a doozy.
In the meantime, some young people are going to be living on around £70 a week.
No, people with significant disabilities will be protected. They will not only will they be protected within the universal credit system, which is the one you're mentioning, but they'll also be able to apply for personal independence payments. So people with significant disabilities, if they are young, if they're currently receiving UC Health, they will continue to receive it, and if they have significant disabilities, they will still be able to apply for personal independence payment. But we are not going to write off 21-year-olds.
For those who can't, they'll be living on about
we are
70
not
quid.
going to write off 21-year-olds as unable to
For
work.
those who can't, they'll be living on about £70 a week. Could you live on 70 quid a week?
Absolutely not.
So why do you expect young people to?
We won't. We provide housing benefit as well, and we'll provide personal independence payments.
This is cash in
for
their
those
pocket.
that
This
need it.
70
So are
quid
the things
cash
I
a
just
week.
mentioned to you. So are the things I just mentioned to you. That's how the benefit system works. If people need help with their rent, they receive that as well. If they need support with a disability, personal independence
so to
payments
buy
is there
food,
for that as
to
well.
pay bills,
Yes.
70 quid a week. You've just told me you couldn't live on that.
Well, no, I have a mortgage to pay because that's the current situation. But what I'm saying to you, and the benefit system exists to provide housing benefit support for young people as well. But what I'm saying to you is the current system is a disaster for those young people. And, you know, it's all well and good to say you don't like every aspect of these changes, but what you are defending is a Tory system. You're not.
I'm not defending anything.
No, but
I'm
I sat
asking
in
you
the
questions
chamber.
about your
Absolutely,
plans.
and that's your job. But I sat in the chamber today and heard people say I'm worried about this aspect of the change, but there's not enough focus on the disaster that is happening in our country today. We are seeing much faster growth in claims for disability benefits than we
Yes,
are seeing
you've said
actual
that.
levels of disability,
Can I
particularly
just-
for young people.
Well, no, I have a mortgage. How can you not look at this and come away thinking he isn't a sociopath? Now, Torsten in particular, I mean, he's very interesting because despite defending these cuts in the worst possible way, might I add, he was rigorously against it before becoming an MP. So what you can see on your screen is a thread explaining how benefit cuts are bad for the economy. And this tweet in particular makes it very clear what his position was. This is terrible macroeconomics, just as now is exactly the wrong time to be raising taxes and weakening the recovery. It's an awful time to be taking £8 billion out of the economy by cutting benefits, reducing incomes for the households that actually spend it. Now, to make things worse, he's also attacked John McDonnell. Torsten Bell has just accused me of defending a Tory welfare system. That is a lie. I've consistently called for reform of the system, but not a reform based upon billions of pounds of cuts that will harm and put the lives of disabled people at risk. Now, I wonder what changed his mind. This was also the case with the two-child benefit cap. He was very clear in his opposition to it, but then voted for it. Kevin, we're going to come into the details in a second, but what do you make of that interview and how Torsten changed his view pretty quickly, even to go as far as attacking John McDonnell, who famously said in Parliament he'd rather swim through vomit than vote for benefit cuts?
Yeah, I mean, genuinely breathtaking stuff. I have a mortgage should be written on his political tombstone. It should be the end of him as a political entity. This is the problem ultimately with having these kind of liberal left, if you want to call them that, liberally posh boy Uxbridge graduate people. Not that necessarily going to a good university is inherently a problem, of course, but they're completely out of touch. His background means that he doesn't understand the concept of having to live on £70 a week, because of course he can't do, because he has a mortgage. That phrase reveals so much about not just him but the British political hierarchy, frankly. He's essentially saying the subtext of that, and it's much like David Lammy and the natural reaction, which reveals something about his actual person rather than the performative nonsense. When he says I have a mortgage, he's basically saying, well, it's not going to affect me. It's only going to affect the plebs. It's only going to affect the riffraff.
It's the tone of the way he said it as well, wasn't it? It's like, me? I have a mortgage. And the way he sort of disparaged Victoria Derbyshire by saying, and by the way, she's a journalist, and accused her of defending Tory welfare policy. That's a really strange thing to do. And also, attacking Labour isn't defending Tory welfare policy, because, in my view, and I'm sure you agree, this is Tory welfare policy.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's such a disgusting smear, because he's literally the pensions minister. You're trying to introduce and further deepen the austerity welfare, to the degree it can even be called a welfare state anymore, welfare system. The Tories, even at their most craven, didn't go this far. They literally said, even George Osborne, who frankly would happily have watched the poor starve to death for his own entertainment, such a ghoul that he was, even he didn't go, shall we go after people who are terminally ill? Shall we literally go after people who can't get out of bed? Like, that was, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting for a second, I'm not trying to whitewash George Osborne's democidal record, 330,000 plus of
shift
people.
As well, because if George Osborne was in now, it's very likely he would be proposing the same thing.
Almost certainly, I imagine, yes. Yeah. But again, what you need, and this is unfortunately the ratchet effect, isn't it? That what you need is the Labour Party to actually push back on this, and not just push it back to the position it was, but hopefully further to the left. Whereas actually what they do is just keep it virtually in the same place. So when the Tories get in, the axis of gravity has been pulled further and further and further right, to the point where you're in this situation now where essentially there's little to any difference whatsoever between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. Like, I've been predicting the death of the Conservative Party for a while now, and whilst the official Conservative and Unionist Party are dead and will be swept away within the next couple of general elections, their spirit lives on, but with red rosettes.
Yeah. It doesn't matter which political party dies if conservatism moves on.
Well, exactly, absolutely.
That's why, celebrating the downfall of the Conservative Party doesn't hit the same as it used to. I would have absolutely loved it and cherished it when Jeremy Corbyn was leader, because it was defeating the Tory Party and conservatism. But I'm not particularly I don't really care actually about the Tory Party, whether they die or not, because you're right, it lives through the Labour Party and it lives through reform. Sorry, it's our entire political consensus. The Conservatives have won. They've won bigly.
Yeah, well, I've said this before, and Torsten Bell plays into this. This is class war. This is class war that's taking place before our very eyes. It's the upper class engaging in an offensive and offensive action against the working class. And like you say, they've won because the institutions are all entirely run by other posho Oxbridge graduates like Torsten Bell. And it doesn't matter how well-intentioned you may have been outside of Parliament, if you're just going to buy into the exact same paradigm, all you're going to do is further and further and further the destruction of anything, any semblance of national cohesion.
He's the new Tristram Hunt.
It certainly rhymes with that, yeah.
And I remember Tristram, he said a few years ago, he said the 1% should be leading the Labour Party. Just
Well, he got
need to know.
He got his wish.
He got his wish.
Yeah.
Let's get into the details though of the welfare cuts. These are the numbers on universal credits. So the health top-up will be denied to under 2022s to prevent a direct path from education to benefits. The top-up will also be cut for new claimants from £97 to £50 per week by 2026-27, a major cut. And that's a cut of more than £2,000 a year and frozen for existing ones. The top rate of universal credit for the most disabled will be cut. Details in spring statement, but the standard rate will rise above inflation for the first time, reaching a £775 annual increase by 2029. The work capability assessment will be scrapped in 2028, replaced by the PIP assessment instead. Claimants with severe lifelong disabilities will no longer face reassessments to give them the dignity they deserve. Now, you might like that last bit, especially scrapping of the WCA, but you got to think about the fact that Labour are making cuts worth £5 billion. We also have a breakdown of who will be affected when the government makes changes to PIP. Around 1 million people will be affected. You've got here people with arthritis, 463,000, cancer, cardiovascular disease, schizophrenia, PTSD. All of these are incredibly serious, and these people are going to be affected. It's so bad, actually, that a woman named Georgina, who has MS, explained to the BBC that she will lose hundreds of pounds per month.
Georgina, who has multiple sclerosis, is one of those who believes she will lose out. She currently claims the disability benefit known as PIP, and the criteria is being tightened.
I will lose the living component of my PIP payment, which equates to about £290 a month. The money I get from PIP I spend on my health to keep me away from the NHS. So all of my money goes on things like neurophysio that costs me £120 an hour, and I have 2 sessions a month.
£290. Insane. Now, Labour have also created a score sheet on whether people are eligible for PIP. This is one example when it comes to bathing. So you need to score 4 points on one of the scores in order to be available for PIP, right? And that's across the entire document. But look at the descriptors below 4. So those who need aids or an appliance, supervision, physical assistance with their hair or body below the waist, and assistance to be able to get in or out of the bath or shower, wouldn't score a 4, which is one of the thresholds. It's really astonishing. Kevin, there's been a lot of noise that, there are people on PIP who can actually work, and Labour want to look after those who really need it. Does that information make you confident that Labour are looking out for disabled people?
No, this is democide. Just straightforwardly, this is democide, and it's going to kill a lot of people. And I'm not going to pussyfoot around that in the way that parliamentarians have been doing, disgracefully, to the eternal shame of themselves and to the detriment of their role as representatives of their constituents. I think that the cut from £97 a week to £50 a week is so ironic in a sense, because £50 is literally the amount of money that an MP can claim for one breakfast meal every single day that they are in Parliament. That tells you everything.
Pounds. I mean, what are you getting for breakfast?
Cocaine and Red
meal.
Boys? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what they're up to, frankly, some of them. But yeah, no, it just goes to show you the point we were making about Torsten Bell. He's so out of touch. It's so unbelievably out of touch. The impoverishment and penny pinching of any kind of subsidy for the poor, whilst allowing the rich to get away with obscene levels of tax evasion. Any just or sensible society would not stand for this. I suspect people in France would not stand for this. The people of
They
Britain
certainly wouldn't know.
are essentially so cooked at this point that they're just going to roll over and take it. I don't know. There has been some pushback in Parliament, which is good to see, I suppose. But the point is the cruelty, and I think that's the point worth bringing up. It's not even about the money. And I know it's sort of seen as a trite point that the cruelty is the point, but it's actually true in this instance, completely and utterly, by the government's own noise. Because they're literally not even making a financial argument as to why this needs to happen. Keir Starmer literally came out and said that this was a moral this was a moral crusade he was on, that this was the morality of it. So we're going back to some Victoriana Protestant work ethic bullshit of the deserving and undeserving poor. This is barbaric.
Yeah.
It really is. And the fact this is being brought to you by the Social Democratic Labour Party, get fucked. Honestly, this is evil. There's no other way of describing this. Is actually evil.
I find it very interesting, okay, that, of course, when it comes to unemployment benefits, it's always framed as a moral argument. But when it comes to disability benefits, when any politician has tried to make cuts, they've always done it out of so-called economic necessity.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a shift now, which is that what you point up, Keir Starmer even said, this isn't even anything to do with money or finances. It's a moral thing. And many pundits are saying, well, it's a moral thing because we don't want people living a life on benefits and they're trapped. We want them to, we don't want them ill and stuck on benefits and they're stuck at home. We want them to, be out at work. We want them to be free, almost as in the work sets you free thing. And first of all, there are a lot of people on PIP who want to work, but there's no opportunities for them, and you want to scrap the benefits underneath them.
Yeah.
I want to sort of get your comment on that there's a shift in tone when it comes to disability benefits. It's now apparently it's good for them. It's good for them.
Yeah, it's genuinely, it's a kind of Malthusian sort of fascistic way of looking at it. It's the idea of useless eaters, life unworthy of life, Arbeit macht frei, dare I say. They're literally engaging in the rhetoric of genocidal fascists. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what actually they are. They're just disgusting neoliberals, which unfortunately is not a clear distinction necessarily where one begins and the other ends, but they're engaging in the same kind of, like I say, democidal rhetoric. And indeed democidal action, because there's no way this doesn't kill tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of more people. We literally saw the graphic you put up. 83,000 schizophrenic patients are going to be affected by this. Over 100,000 cancer patients are going to be affected by this. This is evil. I don't know how you can possibly defend this in any way whatsoever. And frankly, any Labour Party politician who even deigns to vote for this, you need to be removed.
Yeah.
You need to be removed.
We've got Labour members and Labour voters, some of them are defending it.
Well, some of them are defending it, but
indefensible.
But I've been heartened to some extent by the fact that there have been a number of defections of local councillors.
Yep.
There have been lots of Labour members, even ones that have stuck through all of the evil that the Labour Party have put them through over the last few years, who have finally gone, no, this is enough.
Yeah.
Because this is so obviously, straightforwardly, unabashedly a Tory / further to the right than the Tories policy.
Yep.
This is a reform policy.
I think it's very easy for people to be sat in comfy studios, who work 3 hours a day and get paid shitloads, and say, well, it's very rewarding going to work. And maybe some of these people who are disabled but not severely disabled, it's very freeing for them. Maybe they should get to work. It's so easy to say that, but try pushing, not just disabled people, but able-bodied people into working at Amazon, working ridiculously long hours, no working rights, a pittance of pay, then you get a slightly different equation there, don't you? Because there are a lot of people who were working and signed off for mental health issues because of their job. If you're someone who suffers from anxiety and depression, I don't think pushing that person into a call center job where you have to take a call every 2 seconds and you get abuse on the phone, I don't think that's particularly rewarding or even helpful to people's mental health.
Yeah.
And you've got the Labour Party also poo-pooing on the idea that, working from home, we're going to get you back to the office. well, then surely more jobs where you can work from home would help people who have more severe disabilities. Yet they want to sort of they want to give you no avenue.
Yeah.
Right? They want to say, get the hell off benefits, but also, no, we're not going to create a less hostile job market. We're not going to support unions, which can obviously get you better pay, but better working conditions, which makes it easier for disabled people to work. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Then you can only come to the conclusion that you are just fucking evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the workforce participation rate of people with disabilities would be significantly higher if we hadn't had the last 40 plus years now of neoliberal late stage capitalist hell, which basically forced people, for the sake of cruelty, because we found out during the pandemic people could have worked from home at any point during that, but no, for the pure power lust thrill of it, they forced people to have to go into offices. So a lot of disabled people who could have accessed the job market weren't able to, and so this is an even bigger problem than it needed to be in the first place.
Yeah.
And secondly, the point about the dignity of work, not dignity in work, the dignity of work. So they don't give a shit about you actually having any dignity, as we can see by the fact that Amazon are allowed to force their people to piss in bottles. Very dignified, yeah. They're just doing the kind of Protestant work ethic nonsense. Yeah. That's all this is. It's work will set you free. That's literally what they're doing.
Not to mention commercial landlords who want people back to the office as well.
True, but I mean, again, they're just evil.
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave that story there. But before we move on, if you are enjoying our show, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Once the show is finished, come back and leave a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. And of course, we're going to read them too. We are just a group of volunteers who are trying to turn this into a full-time media organisation where this becomes a full-time jobs. So if you'd like to support us, then you can go to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There you can sign up to our Patreon and support us for as little as £3 per month. Or you can give us a one-off I'll start that again. You can also give us a one-off donation through our website too. Alternatively, you can become a member on YouTube for 99p. Now, moving on to our final story. Former England manager Gareth Southgate has spoken out against the rise of callous, manipulative and toxic influencers, filling the void left by absent father figures. He warned that young men feeling isolated and struggling with their identity are increasingly turning to these figures who do not have their best interests at heart. Southgate's words resonated in Westminster, where Labour MPs are pushing to counteract toxic masculinity with a more positive vision of fatherhood and masculinity.
Young men are suffering. They're feeling isolated. They're grappling with their masculinity and with their broader place in society. As real-world communities and mentorship declines, young men end up withdrawing, reluctant to talk or express their emotions. They spend more time online searching for direction and are falling into unhealthy alternatives like gaming, gambling and pornography. And this void is filled by a new kind of role model who do not have the best interests at heart. These are callous, manipulative and toxic influencers whose sole drive is for their own gain. They willingly trick young men into believing that success is measured by money or dominance, never showing emotion, and that the world, including women, is against them. They are as far away as you could possibly get from the role models our young men need in their lives.
Also, a new group of predominantly male Labour MPs calls for policies supporting men as fathers, including improved paternity rights. They argue that by failing to engage with young men, Labour risks allowing right-wing figures to dominate discussions on masculinity. Sean Davies, MP for Telford, echoed Southgate's concerns, warning that if progressive politicians don't step in, others who don't have the best interest of boys and men at heart will exploit the void. The MP's initiative aligns with growing concern about the influence of Reform UK, which polls show is gaining support among young men. Labour is under pressure to counter this by addressing issues that matter to them, like workplace flexibility and fatherhood rights. Activists argue that better paternity leave policies are essential for gender equality, yet the UK remains one of the worst countries in Europe for such provisions. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been watching Adolescence. It's a new show on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it before. I've not watched it yet, but I've definitely taken interest. I definitely will watch it. But it seems to be having a profound effect on society's views on the issue. It's a Netflix drama about the teenagers of incel culture that's being praised as one of the best pieces of television in years. Starmer acknowledged that online radicalization of young men is a real problem that must be tackled culturally as well as politically. As Labour works to redefine masculinity, the battle for young men's minds and votes continues. Kevin, I don't know if you've seen the show Adolescence yet, but I think this is really important, looking at how young men grow up in society. Are we letting them down?
I haven't seen the show, but I think I probably will have to take a look at it. It seems certainly politically and socially relevant. Is society letting men down? Yes and no is the answer. It's obviously very, very complicated. As always with these discussions, there's an element of truth to it, but also, unfortunately, an element of bad faith and whinging that's also involved with it. Gareth Southgate himself, I think, spoke very well. Before you actually told me this was going to be a topic, I didn't even know he'd given a speech. But it was available on the iPlayer, and I watched it before we got going. And it was very good, albeit he did remind me of the time in 1996 where he made a very young Kev cry by missing a penalty. It was I don't want to go into it, it's too soon. But
Maybe
yes,
he's not the best speaker on this then, if he broke your heart.
He did. He made one young man very unhappy that day. Anyway, but yeah, he gone on to be rather successful in his own way, I suppose. Yeah, albeit with a very boring style of play. We don't want to go into it. Right. I think he spoke very well actually on this topic, as well as addressing the fact that he wasn't trying to denigrate women's role in any of this and overlook this. But that's unfortunately part of the problem is in this discussion of centering men and what's wrong with men and male loneliness epidemic and all the rest of it is the centering of men and ignoring the fact that there's 50% of the rest of society that this isn't happening to. And to ignore that, I think is telling as to the priorities of some of these people. Again, not Gareth Southgate necessarily. And unfortunately, Gareth Southgate, I think, has missed a larger point, which of course he was going to because he's a liberal, and the media purposefully ignore it, of course. He quoted the Centre for Social Justice, a think tank, which, even though it has a nice name, was co-founded by Ian Duncan Smith, a man who did more damage even than the Labour cuts to benefits are going to during his time as head of the DWP. A genuinely ghoulish man, an evil human being with the blood of hundreds of thousands of people on his hands. He quoted them saying there was a fatherlessness epidemic, whilst ignoring the fact that the very things that he praised in aid, things like the cut in community centres and things like that, were done by Ian Duncan Smith and the Conservative government. The fact that one of the major factors in fatherlessness is the increased level of incarceration and repeat incarceration in prisons and the ballooning prison population, again done by Ian Duncan Smith and the neoliberal Conservative agenda over the course of the last 40 years. So the very people who are trying to sell you this narrative are the very people who created the problems that underpin these problems to begin with.
I'm really glad you brought up that point, because I agree that Gareth Southgate is coming from a good place, and these contributions are important. We do need to look at culture, but the big thing that's missing is the material. Of course, you can say, well, young men growing up without men could be an issue, and of course it is an issue, but there are young girls that grow up without their fathers too and without their mothers. But how many young girls are stabbing people? It's a little different. I think that the political right weaponize young men, and I do think that maybe progressives need to, even though it's not true, by the way, it's what they paint of us, but the left may need to be a bit louder to say, no, we care about young men, of course. But the link between Gareth Southgate and Ian Duncan Smith is a perfect sort of encapsulation of liberal politics, which is we need to be speaking in better language, but also we're not going to improve your material conditions. And that is the root cause for a lot of things. You know, when people get into reactionary politics and people go down a very dark path, a lot of it is down to their material conditions as well. Yeah. And I don't think we're going to solve this issue. And obviously, it's a society-wide issue. You can't just say, let's sort out young men and then we'll move on to something else. It all sort of works together. You can't do it without looking at the material conditions, can you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Fundamentally, the way in which you end people's gravitation towards demagoguery, whether that be fascists or incels or religious extremists or whatever, is ultimately to cut down on poverty. Poverty is the number one driving cause of crime and the number one driving cause of becoming extreme, becoming an extremist, okay? So whether they necessarily gravitate towards Andrew Tate or whoever, these people are doing it from a position of not necessarily just poverty, because it's not they're not necessarily that every single person is poor. There are a lot of quite middle class people.
No, you're right, yeah, but I think,
but it's a lack of opportunity, which is ultimately the point. It's a frustration that they know that fundamentally the society they're in doesn't give a shit about them. It's, to use the Marxist phrase, capitalist alienation. In essence, it's that you're just a cog in a machine, and not even a cog in a machine that's guaranteed a fucking job or anything. Like, you're literally just a tool to be picked up and used by Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or whoever, and then discarded. That leads to a warped way of operating in that society. And people will be drawn towards extreme people with extreme solutions. And however good and nice the words are of people like Gareth Southgate about the way in which these are toxic influences and are bad, for society at large and for the men themselves, and are themselves taking advantage of those very men. Ultimately, if you're not going to tackle the underlying root causes of any of that, nothing positive can change. Nothing's going to improve.
What do you think about gaming then?
Degenerate filth. Degenerate filth. Hater.
Gaming can be a really good pipeline for radicalizing young men, but it's not necessarily the games themselves. It's the community of gaming.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's the community of gaming, and it's to a degree the opportunity for anonymity, which means that people can act out in ways that they wouldn't ever do in private. Oh, sorry, in public. But also, it's an element of seclusion, which allows almost like the dynamics of a cult in a sense, whether it be in these kind of Discord chats or whether it's in lobbies of individual games. You have a kind of self-reinforcing, extremising influence on one another, and people who are demagogues who want to use that can go in there and begin to radicalize these people because of that isolation, because they're not getting those positive outside influences on their lives in those spaces. So it's not necessarily that the games are the problem, because of course that's like some 1980s satanic
that's
panic
the whole
bullshit,
games cause violence.
Exactly,
no, absolutely not.
No.
It's not the gaming itself.
No. I mean, look. I mean, the idea that culture is going to instantly create this violence, like a lot of classical music was based around battles and stuff, but you didn't see people listening to Mozart and then cannoning people in the streets. Like, that's not how these things work. So it's not the games that are the problem necessarily, although some of them I think do reinforce some negative attitudes towards
but you could say that about pretty much.
Well, of course you could. Movies and
the media,
music and stuff. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and
it definitely reinforces it for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the kind of culture that is allowed to flourish and foster in that space. And of course, again, to go back to the material realities of it, we know that through people like Steve Bannon and his ilk, they've put a lot of dark money into perverting gaming culture and kind of gamer bro culture into being a right-wing vehicle for their own nefarious political agenda.
Yep. No, I was thinking of Steve Bannon as we were talking.
Yeah,
he's like infiltrated the area specifically to get his to get what he wants. I think let's bring on our producer. And we're going to go to some comments. I'm sure we've got a lot to go through. I'm joined by Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Oh my god, amazing show, guys. Can you guys hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great, because last time I started the show and I was on mute, so
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Your first
I
ever
was
hosting
walking
duties
away.
and you're on mute. We love that, don't
I
we?
know, I'm not tech savvy, but really, really great show. I think we'll start from the last story and then work our way back
Okay.
to the start. But there was this comment that I found quite interesting: the lack of third space outside of home or work/school, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Kevin, that if we actually want to interrogate why a lot of young men, young boys are falling into this, I think we need to address the material conditions that create it. Like, I think that the people, like the figures like Andrew Tate, they're just symptoms of a bigger issue, because they don't just rise to prominence because young men inherently seek out misogynistic or right-wing ideology. They rise because capitalism has left millions of young men economically insecure, socially isolated, and kind of desperate for some sort of meaning. And I think decades of neoliberalism kind of hollowed out working class communities and slashed these youth services and made secure jobs a rarity. And then you have this generation of oh, sorry guys if I'm too far away from the mic. And then you have this generation of young men who feel abandoned and alienated and resentful. So I don't know, when you have this absence of strong unions and community centres that used to be in place and accessible education, you have these reactionary figures who step up in with these supposed easy answers. Like, they blame women, they blame immigrants, and actually they then point to what they think are weak men for their struggles. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think there are the kind of forces of reaction, so to speak, that are very, very happy to allow people like Andrew Tate, because they misdirect people's anger towards entirely erroneous targets and distract from the actual enemies of these young men.
I think that's a really interesting point about third spaces, because it's true, and this is not maybe an issue about young men. This is, I think, just the overall happiness about people in this country and young people, is that there is no third space. I mean, I know a lot of the older generation to drink a lot of alcohol, but at least the pub was a brilliant third space for these people, and we've lost that. That is down to, obviously, neoliberalism, but it's something else as well, because obviously people don't drink as much anymore. Younger people don't drink as much as sort of our older counterparts. But it's literally just working home. And if you work from home, it's often just home. So I think it's a good point about there is a lack of third space.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll move on because we had quite a few comments. There was this one: they should regulate rents and cut housing benefit to private landlords with conditions against eviction instead of disability cuts. But obviously anyone who knows me knows that I am a huge landlord abolitionist. I just think they're an economic dead weight.
I was going to say landlord lover.
I was going to say, yeah, no.
God forbid.
I think they should just cut private landlords.
Same.
Just end it there. Yeah.
£85.6 billion goes into this unregulated rental sector. Like, I just think, come on, that's our money going into this ridiculous sector where they get to decide if they want to increase the rents and stuff.
Yeah, usually when a body has a parasite, you want to remove it. Enough said.
Enough said, indeed. And then Noffel's in the comments. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Noffel.
Disabled people in gig centre wouldn't even grow the economy. It's justification for neoliberalism. Almost like, to have a functioning economy, you need functioning people. But capitalism doesn't work like that. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying on the other on Monday's show, that the state manufactures suffering and then tells you it's all in your head, and you need to just work harder. Oh, you're depressed? Go touch some grass. Oh, you've got anxiety, you're not working hard enough. Like, it's just it's disgusting. I think the culture that's now being created at the moment under this, what seems to be like a Tory government, does not feel like Labour at all, is heinous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes you think about David Graeber's bullshit jobs as well. It's like, we have to manufacture this kind of society where it's like everyone has to be in work, but also working grueling hours. But if you think about the value we create as society, most of the jobs are complete bullshit. aren't they? What value do they add? And I think we just need to fundamentally reimagine the economy. I was also sort of remembered what Peter Hitchens was saying to Aaron Bastani. He said that socialism is fundamentally anti-human. I believe he said socialism. But capitalism is fundamentally anti-human because capitalism treats everyone as the same. You have to be a extremely motivated, able-bodied person who only thinks in the realms of how much money I can make to be successful under capitalism, and that's not even guaranteed as well. But what about those who are more creative, want to pursue avenues that don't necessarily make the most amount of profit? Well, sorry, this is capitalism, this doesn't work. What about people who don't want to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week? Why is that so wrong? Sorry, but it doesn't work under capitalism. And of course, that includes a lot of disabled people, because capitalism is fundamentally anti-human. We're not supposed to work like this. We're not supposed to be like this.
Yeah, what would Peter Hitchens know about being anti-human when he's not
very little?
He's not even human himself.
Literally. So true. And it kind of like ties into this comment, death by government, it's hard to refute this. It feels like it. And then there was this one, the politicians are not sorting out our problems, they're creating them with care, which is what they say to get your votes. We care about you. Look at how we're going to impact your livelihoods by doing all of these cuts that will impact the most impoverished and most vulnerable communities. And then Edward was echoing your points, Kevin, that this really is just a naked class war. And it's true. And I think people need to call it out for what it is. I feel like people are always just like tiptoeing around the topic. They're tiptoeing around what it actually is. And it is a class war. Like, working classes are suffering the most as a result of this, and I literally felt physically sick to my stomach watching that video again of Torsten Bell, and you can finish the end of his last name, just saying that he's got a mortgage to pay. Oh wow, what a fucking privilege. You entitled guy.
Honest to God, a man called Torsten saying that everyone else has to pull their belt in, I just like, it's like they want the guillotines to roll out again.
But like, even on like the vibes in an era of populism, you've got the meltiest robotic guy doing the proper thing, like not the real finger pointer, but finger pointed. Well, I do think we shouldn't make cuts, and you're defending Tory welfare policies, and I have a mortgage. Like, you could not pick a worse person for this time.
God, it was like that
to go out and defend bad policy.
That impersonation was perfect. It was like he was in the room with us. Yeah.
I thought he was like behind me then.
Yeah,
Torsten, what are you doing here?
What are you doing? I've got a mortgage to pay. I can't do it like you, but yeah. Stanley, so true. Torsten's energy was giving. You don't expect me to reduce myself to pleb level, do you? And that's what you said, Kevin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That literally is
riffraff, and it's true.
That is literally Like, no, I have a mortgage. I'm a decent human being, not like these fucking these peasants.
That's how they see them, though.
Yeah. I think they view us as like paupers. So yeah, there's still quite a few comments. Jacqueline said, I still feel sick about watching all the news about the way that disabled people have been targeted by this government, especially young people. Torsten Bell is, Belland. I had to whisper that because I was like, oh God, can I say it out loud? And yes, I can, because he actually is. He is.
Of course you
that
can.
video kind of proved that. And then I'm going through the comments quite quickly, but seeing that video of Lammy, and I'm always reminded of him saying, where's the liberal outrage? And I'm just like, shut up. He's such a prick. Lammy's useless, a massive coward. He should have resigned over this if he had any conscience. And this was going back to the very, very first story. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I'm glad he was finally able to speak in the comments, having taken Donald Trump's nuts out of his gob. That was good.
the biggest weather vane in politics is David Lammy.
Honestly, in a truly spectacularly awful field, he is the most unprincipled politician that we've ever seen.
It's really hard to choose from, but I think he comes out on top. I think
it's so obvious. Like, he literally 1 minute he's saying that Donald Trump is a fascist, and then he's like, but he did buy me a nice dinner, so now we're friends.
So actually, maybe he isn't a fascist.
Yeah, like what?
Or actually, he is a fascist, but I don't particularly care.
Yeah, it's tragic.
And just final two. The ceasefire was always set up to be a sham
Yeah.
and a mockery of the peace process, and absolutely, this escalation isn't happening in a vacuum. You know, the Israeli state is actually backed by billions in US military aid. I think it's over like $3.8 billion annually, and I think it's continuing its strategy of ethnic cleansing. It doesn't care about the ceasefire, and it's ensured consistently that
Yeah.
Palestinian resistance remains crushed. And I think you guys both brought up this point, but the narrative that's being pushed by media in the global north is that these are, again, targeted strikes against Hamas, but it ignores the reality that the vast majority of casualties are civilians, women and children. Like, there is no way that this is in any way, shape or form justifiable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how much Hamas were in the UN building that was bombed, for instance. Although, of course,
they were
every,
running it.
They
are.
If you just say that everyone's Hamas, then technically you can only target Hamas because everything's Hamas, including the Pope. Yeah, brilliant. Anyway, yeah, in terms of the aid thing, I think it's worth bearing in mind that when Donald Trump came in and signed his executive order freezing all foreign aid, there was one little caveat to
Which
that.
country didn't?
There was one country that was exempt from that particular cut, and I think it might have been Israel.
I think it might have been Israel too. It's funny that, isn't it? I love the Britain first. Sorry, well, Britain first, but the America first people. I saw this very funny tweet from a guy who calls himself the Misfit Patriot. And there he was basically simping for Zionism. I was like, well, the Misfit Patriot is actually a really good descriptor then.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That made
yeah.
a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Even people going after the Zionists are going after Piers Morgan. That's how you know how little they've got left, is that even Piers Morgan is basically doing propaganda for Hamas, apparently.
He's Hamas. You know, he was a sleeper agent for Hamas all along. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Of course it is.
Yeah.
If you believe in human rights, that's basically the Hamas Charter.
True.
Yeah. Also, Edward, I just want to say really quickly, I'm really sorry for your loss because you said that in the comments. So just sending love and hugs to your family. But you also said this comment towards the start of the show, and I feel like I always put your comments up, Edward, because I just love everything that you say. But this is a continuation of what's been happening since last October, and more broadly, the policy since '67.
Yeah.
The UK and the US, including Biden, participated in this. It's not just Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of Trump's policies, whether it's immigration, whether it's foreign policy, are not so far removed from the political establishment. They're just more extreme, and he's just more overt about it, which is when liberals sort of say, oh my God, what Trump's doing is terrible. But also, I fully back Joe Biden doing it because it is the establishment policy. The Western establishment is in favor of genocide of the Palestinians. And yes, Trump is like uniquely bad, but he's only bad because he's taken the existing political establishment and just running with it rather than breaking from the political establishment.
Well,
I think liberals do not get that.
It's the same vibes nonsense you get here with Starmer. It doesn't matter how right-wing or awful their policies are, as long as it's worded nicely.
Yeah, I mean that. Sorry, I know it's a different topic, but my God, it reminds me of, I think it was Polly Toynbee who wrote an article recently in the Guardian saying that, well, if Rachel Reeves has to make cuts, at least do it with care. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I just take away £20 a week from you, and you might die from it. But I feel really bad about it. That was the most Polly Toynbee Guardian article I've ever seen.
It's another posho who doesn't understand the realities of people at the lowest ebb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
It should be a Hall of Fame article headline, though.
Oh, no, it is the meltiest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Absolute Hall of Fame.
And last comment, Curtis always looks.
Oh,
so
thank you so
sharp.
much.
Yay.
I
But,
really appreciate that. I really like that as the last comment as well.
Yeah, I thought I'd give that one. And also, Kevin, there was a comment about you. It was like, oh yeah, Kev's here. And I was like, yes, Kevin's here.
Cool.
But yeah, he's cool. But thank you
You
so
don't
much.
seem satisfied with that. Why not?
No, I know I am satisfied with that, but like I started off my show. I always like to do a little funny thing, and there was someone, one of these organisations had done a composite image of what they thought the last Neanderthal looked like, and it's me. It's just me.
Oh,
Right,
Kevin's audience are very naughty.
Well, no. This wasn't my audience that did this. This was a scientific organisation, like an archaeologist thing, right? And the image, it's on my Twitter if you want to go and look at it. I
we'll
literally
check it
put
out,
I
yeah.
put that image and then an image of me next to it, and it's just for fuck's sake. So like the sort of the reaction I just gave there was like, in my head I was thinking, I don't get called sharp very often. I don't get told, oh, you look fucking amazing, Kev. I think
you
I know
look
why.
Fucking amazing.
Thank
We'll
you.
agree. You look
Right.
fucking amazing.
Thank you. I
And,
appreciate
and
that.
we like the sound of your voice as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for comments. It's been a really,
Okay.
really great show, and I'm gonna go on
Yeah.
mute.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
That is all we have time for then. I want to thank to all of our viewers who tuned in. And of course, thank you to Kevin for joining me tonight. Remember to like this stream. And if you're not a subscriber, hit that button. We're trying to reach 20,000. I think 20,000 is a really cool milestone to celebrate. 19,000 is good, but it doesn't sound the same, does it? I want to say 20,000. So please get us to 20,000 as soon as possible. If you want to see us grow, then you can head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There is a link to our Patreon where you can support us monthly for as little as £3 per month. Or you can follow the other link to give us a one-time contribution. Of course, you can also become a YouTube member for just 99p. I believe Kevin will continue to be streaming on his other end, so please make sure you go over there. We're going to raid you in anyway. And you're going to get some more left-wing content, as we love, comrades. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm Curtis Daly, and I will see you next time.
Support independent media.
Sieg
Support
Heil!
social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.
Oh, I love it. It's my favourite joke ever, and I will never not do it. Oh, please! I'd love him to see that. Actually, no, I wouldn't, because he might take it seriously, because he's a serious dude. Oh, fucking hell. That was nice, wasn't it? I enjoyed that.
Yay!
Way!
Oh, there we go.
Cracking show.
What a great show! I really enjoyed that. You guys did have me laughing at some parts as well, but you couldn't hear me. I was like, ah! Like, cracking back.
That's the Kev for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Much love.
Really great show. I really enjoyed that. Really great story. Oh, really upsetting stories, but great coverage.
Yeah. Well, we always said at the end, we're like, oh, yeah, really good stories. And like, oh, it's genocide. Well, no,
Yeah,
it's bad stories, but good
Bad
coverage.
stories, but good coverage. Yeah, that's why I had to correct myself. But oh my god, there's so many graphics today. I was like, fuck it out.
Sorry about that.
I was like, fuck it out. Like...
I fucked up the intro graphic for you as well.
No, it's
Soz.
okay. It's all good.
Okay, when we get off the call though, Sarah's gonna be really mean to me, and shout at me.
No, not at all. I'm actually the most chill one. I'm chill, but I get a panic over the text shit. I'm like, fuck this, can't do it. But it's fine. Great show though. Great show.
Yeah,
thanks, Kevin, man.
No, much love. Hello to the raiders and everything. Hello, hit the follow.
Did it
button
work,
or
by the way?
something.
Because I was like, shit, I don't think I've done it.
I think so. YouTube's rubbish because it doesn't tell you like that you got raided into.
If it's done it or not. Sometimes I'm like, oh, hello, Kev.
So I'm just judging by what I think I should have in terms of the number of viewers, and it's more than that. So I think it went through. Yeah,
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, okay. I need to eat dinner.
Fair dues. Yeah.
But then I'll eat dinner and I'll check out your stream anyway. So
Yeah.
Much
if you want
love.
to give me a shout out, I'll be watching.
Yeah, everyone go and follow Turn Left. The Turning Point Lefts.
Turning point left.
Turning point left.
I'll fucking never get tired of that. Anyway, thanks both Kevin and Sarah.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
we'll speak again at some point, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Lovely meeting you, Kevin.
Yeah, lovely to meet you, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Chat. I don't know what else to watch now. I've got nothing else going on. Yes, they were raided in. Oh, well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Anyone got any ideas what you want to watch now? Because that was literally all I had planned for today, was just to do that. I suppose we could watch PMQs, but like literally who gives a fuck? I don't know. Anyway, I could go back to the Neanderthal bit. for people who didn't see it. Yeah, look at that shit. God damn it. It's literally, it's just me. Fucking hell. The only thing sharp about that man is the spear he uses to hunt with. The flint he naps to create a bow and arrow to kill an ox. Or a fucking woolly mammoth. Prick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours.
Hello there, Robo Squid Killer. Much love. Welcome to the Kivolution. Anyway. Yes, welcome in, everybody. What have we got going on here? What is this nonsense? Meet the lawyer tracking down Israeli war criminals. Oh, can we have some... No offence to... Who put this? Non-binary. I appreciate that. I appreciate that enormously. But I don't want to watch something really dark like that. Like, that's... Because if I just wanted to watch, like, depressing shit, I'd just go watch PMQs, right? I'd just go and watch PMQs. And feel depressed about the state of the place I live. So have we got anything vaguely funnier? What in the fuck is that now? Is that a JD Vance edit, I think? Or is it the Neanderthal? I don't even know. I don't know. Where do I start, and where does he stop, and where does he start, and where does the Neanderthal stop? It's like a continuation. HR wants to see the difference between these three images. They're exactly the same. Hurley. I don't know what that means. But also, hello, Asfriends Rost. How are you? Did I see that you were leaving your job? In chat earlier, or was that? Did I misread that? I'm not sure. Actually, I'll tell you what we can do. Let's have a look at the stream suggestions. There'll be something in there. I really don't want to watch PMQs. It's just fucking awful. Man with autism became latest sober driver to be arrested. Oh, God. If you say you're an advocate for women, don't do this. Oh, God, I can't. Oh, it's this fucking whinging woman. Okay, that sounded really sexist. I think you'll probably understand what I mean. Oh, it's only 43 seconds. Right. What does it say? There is just too much going on here. Stay focused on a single point. Make multiple posts. I agree with most of what you're saying, but you're all over the place. Okay.
No hate, dude, but I didn't ask for your feedback about what I covered in my video. I wouldn't have published it if I wasn't happy with what I said and the way I put it together. I will never understand where complete strangers on the internet get off making declarative statements, giving directions, demanding people do something differently. I don't take orders from random dudes on the internet. If you would like to talk about these issues and choose to structure your videos differently, then you go right ahead. You call yourself, quote, an advocate for women on your account. So let me just tell you, if you want to advocate for women, don't mansplain to them. Don't boss them around. Don't demand that they do things the way you would like.
I think he was just sort of giving some general advice. I don't think he needed to take it that personally. What is it? Oh, boy, fuck yes.
Now, I know why you clicked on this video, right? You're just like us. You're like, I want to pray to God, but I want to do it through an app, a subscription-based service that actually pays $60 a year to do. Now, you're in luck, because we're reviewing the two biggest Christian prayer apps made by the two biggest Christians in the world, right? We've got one made by the Pope and one made by Mark Wahlberg. Ooh. These two religious figures are deadlocked in a crazy competition for market share, right? Because this is a very, very lucrative space. Because not only is it hard to unsubscribe, but if you unsubscribe from this app, you get tortured for all eternity. you gotten any Instagram ads from Mark Wahlberg recently?
No, I don't think I have ever received an ad from Mark Wahlberg.
So I get it.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
That's not a prayer. I can't even understand what he's...
Also, Mark Wahlberg was arrested for racist hate crimes in the 1990s. I just want to point that out for everybody.
Happy Sunday. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
Stay prayed up. And is Stay Prayed Up the name of the app?
No, that's just his kind of tagline. Every single Sunday, he has to go film like a 2-second video being like, I'm about to stay prayed up.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
I wish they reached out to us.
Well, the big problem with us is mostly we're not Mark Wahlberg.
We're a little bit Mark Wahlberg.
Little bit, you are.
I did beat up that Vietnamese guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Almost killed him. Did he kill someone? Mark Wahlberg, Vietnamese. Racist hate.
Victory is ours.
That's the thing I was saying. Did Marky Mark pray the racism away? Yeah. Hello there. Oh my god. Radical left. Oh my god. What the fuck is that? Bitch. I appreciate you.
Crime. He was 15. 3 friends were charged for chasing 3 black children and pelting them with rocks while yelling, "Kill the N-words."
We've all done that. That's fine. He was a
Yeah, in Australia, that's just a Tuesday, isn't it?
child.
The next day, Wahlberg harassed another group of mostly black children at the beach, gathering other white men to join in racially abusing and throwing rocks at them. 2 years later, when Wahlberg attacked 2 Vietnamese men while high on the drug PCP. Later in the...
Well, hang on. He was 16 and he was doing fucking PCP. Okay. God damn. Radical left Nuri bitch. Oh, okay. Well, welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you, Lord Fritos, for gifting us up to Marcus Drake. If someone else has a thing, we get on a hype train. And then the fingering can commence. I don't know why fingering has turned into a punishment on this channel. That's strange.
Same day. What he? I feel like when you do like a racist attack, you're like, you do it, then you run away. He's just like, well, I got one Vietnamese guy. I'm already getting charged for hurting Vietnamese people. It's like double jeopardy.
The Catholic Church saw this and was like, this guy's a hard worker.
This is our guy.
This is our guy. We need this guy.
I think this is a testament to the Catholic Church and how easily you can just like, you just repent. No, what do? You confess.
You confess.
You just say, I did it.
Yeah.
I did the racist attack. And they're just like, okay, you can go to heaven. Thanks for telling me.
That's really not... Yeah, I mean, there is a point outside of just Christianity where this is true. I think it's true of all religions to an extent. Is that when you're praying for absolution or forgiveness from God, like, motherfucker, you didn't do shit to God. Why? Like, you fucking beat up a Vietnamese dude. Apologise to the Vietnamese dude. You didn't fucking attack God.
The return of the sausages.
Would you finger Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, of course I would. Sideways. I don't know what that fucking means. Doesn't matter. Thank you, Marcus Drake, who, by the way, is fucking awesome. Everyone give some love to Marcus Drake. Does that mean we're on a hype train now? I think it does. It does. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, who did I say I would finger? I'm fingering Hitler. Which, like, that's the big one, isn't it? I think. Although he wasn't that big. He was like fucking 5'6" or something. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so if we get to level 2 of the hype train, I'll finger Hitler. Why not? Because his body's definitely still around. Bits and subs is how you can make that happen.
Dab got up, whatever he said.
Did you say Dab got up?
I think it was dabbing God.
You see that drip? Look at the drip. Wait, the new pants, the white cargo. Tina, check out the sock with the M logo on the back.
Your foot should not be able to come out of your shoe that easy. You should not be able to go, check out my sock, and you literally just lift up your foot and it just comes out.
Check out my shoe. Why does he tell us to be quiet?
The shocking thing about this is, you know, he lives in Sydney.
That's right, he bought a fucking 40 million. How much sense was that house?
40 million.
Was it actually?
I think it...
Across the road from the WHO. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate you, and I appreciate the bitty bits. Thank you, Ivan Historian, for whatever the fuck that means.
May have been more, may have been 100 million, and a fifth of that was paid for with prayers.
$100 million mansion. You got a $100 million mansion because you prayed with him.
That's insane.
Oh.
I mean, it's not like prayer is the only thing he's ever done, Alex. I'm sure
I guess he's got
I'm sure he's
movies.
made millions from the movie.
I've seen Boogie Nights. He's had a porn career as well.
I am a star.
And the Catholic Church still was like, we've seen your dick. That's fine.
As long as you repent.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
It's almost anti-Catholic.
Stay prayed up. That seems offensive. I don't know. Any Catholics in the chat? I used to be a Catholic and I would have been offended by that. The number 667, who lives across the street? Oh, from the Devil. Okay.
Sounds like what we do with some of our sponsors. Not the sponsor of this video, but, you know, some of them where we give the vibe that we don't care about it. That's what he's doing.
And the best thing about a sponsorship from God is he doesn't have to abide by any of our consumer laws.
That's true.
You don't have to disclose you're doing a sponsorship. You're like, no, I'm just praying. And then meanwhile, God is like doing an invisible transfer to your bank account.
That's amazing.
No one knows you've even been paid.
That is
I
how
wonder
that
if
works.
God can like scam you though, because you don't know you're going to heaven until you're dead, until it's like point of no return. And then he's just like, yeah, I said you'll go to heaven, but like too full.
Too full, exactly.
I wish there were a few signposts, a few being like, keep this up, you're going to heaven, or like, oh, you should probably change this before you die. No, none of that.
This is a signpost. Him paying Mark Wahlberg $20 million. Yeah, that is weird. Like, do you really have to do a sponsorship for heaven using like celebrities?
But is he? I mean, he is a celebrity. He's definitely a celebrity, but like he hasn't been in much recently. You know, like, I feel like if I was God, you could get like Timothy Chalamet. You get anyone. You get the most famous person.
Timothy Chalamet was the guy you picked.
That was a bit of a weird choice. But yeah, I suppose he is like he's more hot than Wahlberg.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
He just keeps doing it everywhere he goes. Hallow raised $100 million in funding at the start.
100.
Guess who one of the biggest investors is?
Was it Pope Francis?
No.
Pope Benedict.
No, the Pope has his own app.
Both Catholic Church.
2 Catholic Church apps. One of them's Pray with Mark Wahlberg, the other one's Pray with the Pope.
Okay, who is it?
Peter Thiel.
Amazing.
CIA fucking surveillance vampire. He's
Yeah.
like literally a vampire.
He's also just everywhere.
But he's also gay, which is crazy. He had his fucking boyfriend killed or something. Which is a very religious thing to do, killing homosexuals.
Yeah,
To be fair, if you want to prove yourself to God, death of...
Like, true, but like it is very Catholic to kill gay people, but usually you don't fuck them first, I think.
Peter Thiel's kept romantic partner is being investigated as a suicide. I feel like it's one of those things where like innocent until proven guilty, right? But with like all the other guilt in his life, you tend to just be like, yeah, sure, he did that.
My threshold is like, I think if you make a certain amount of money...
Thank you, everyone. I will finger Hitler. No one with a video.
Say over $50 million, anything tragic that happens in your life is your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You had something to do with it.
Well, you had enough money to stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
It's weird thinking about this kind of stuff because I'm like, oh, you know, it's so like sacrilegious to pay $70 a year to this like app so you can pray. I'm like, oh, it's so like unchristian. I'm like, wait a minute, that's exactly what the church has been doing forever.
That is what they do.
That's the whole thing.
You go to church, you give tidings.
Yeah. It's anti-Jesus' teachings, but it's very much pro-Catholic Church, yeah.
Tithings, whatever it's called. Tithes, you give your tithes. And this is you're just giving your tithes and they're reminding you to pray. So if anything, people don't have to go to church now. And maybe, is it tax-free for the church?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I assume this app is tax-free. I mean, that probably makes sense why all these like Silicon Valley billionaires are just like, this is a perfect investment. For some reason, a meditation app or like BetterHelp or whatever the fuck psychology app, they pay tax.
Yeah.
But if you just make it about nonsense, they're just like, oh, no, don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Happy Sunday from Fiji, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up. Happy Sunday from Fiji, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
Should we watch the Super Bowl ad?
Yeah, let's watch it.
So somehow, God gave these guys $10 million to do this ad.
God, we take this moment just to give you thanks We thank you for this time to come together as a family, as friends, and as a country.
The Crusaders, people doing holy war in Afghanistan.
They're using the prayer app.
Yeah, of course.
Help us, Lord, especially this Lent, to grow closer to you.
That guy played Jesus in a movie.
Oh, that'd be the best gig. You just got a beard and long hair, and everyone's like, "You want to be Jesus?" You're like, "Sure."
Like, come on now. Come on now, chat. I'm not even going to get rid of Sincerity Cam. Literally. I could be Jesus. I might be Jesus. I don't know.
Join us in prayer this Lent on Hallow. Stay prayed up.
Stay prayed up. He's making prayer cool again.
Thank you for this beautiful commercial.
See, these guys are idiots. Does this man really think that they are doing this for Christ? They are
Neanderthal
literally doing this for money.
guy.
This is the most insulting thing to Christ. If you're actually a Christian, you believe in God,
true.
and you're like, "Oh, this is so good. They care about my religion." It's like,
Thank you, Peter Thiel. Thank you for caring about family values.
No, they thought, which religion has the dumbest, most gullible people? Catholics.
Yeah.
We can suck as much money out of them as possible. The only Super Bowl commercial I was interested in.
I mean, that's cool, though. I never knew marketing worked. You spend $10 million on this, assumedly all these people, all these little, like, gullible people, are going to give them that $10 million back.
It's awesome. This is what, you know, when, like, commercials go, like, woke, and they think everyone's going to be going on the streets being like, "Yes, Pepsi. Yes." This is what actually happens.
Yeah.
You say, "Yeah, Dab got up," and everyone's like, fucking sick. This man's so courageous. It had nothing to do with the $20 million he received. He just loves God.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
Oh, this
Is that
shit's
literally
sick.
all he
Watch them
says?
when they show up on Fox News.
In these
Prayer
fucking
app,
videos.
Hallow, like hallowed be thy name, seeing the biggest spike in downloads in its history after this Super Bowl ad.
We thank you for this time to come together as a family.
I loved it.
I loved it.
We have Mark Wahlberg and Jonathan Rumi joining us on this incredible response. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
God has moved.
Is that a Christian thing? I've never seen.
It's a Catholic thing. It's Ash Wednesday, isn't it? They take palm leaves. Is this just only a thing in like Britain and America for Catholics? Do Australian Catholics not do this? Where you burn palm leaves to create ash, and then the priest puts a little cross. But it's supposed to be like a little discreet little thing. Whereas apparently in America they like do a big fucking thing all the way across your forehead. It's fucking mental.
Seen that before.
And that's supposed to like signify the crucifixion of Jeebus.
Seeing them smile with the crosses together on their head, this feels like as if you and me were doing a pray at a being on a show.
We're just regular Christians. Isn't this not what Christians do?
My friend here that looks like Jesus.
I love how dumb Americans are, because like you want to make a Christian app and you're like, get the guy who they think is Jesus from the movie.
You watch the Super Bowl and see so many faith-based ads. The Hallow ad was really, really touching. What's your reaction to this spike? You broke history.
We just want to continue to encourage people
Hang on. You broke history. Not you broke a record or you made history. You broke history. You're a journalist. There's no excuse for that.
Closer to God.
You know what I like? Is that Mr. Jesus on the right has like a cross. Mark Wahlberg is like he's like got his thumb and just made a plus sign. He's just like, yeah, good enough.
Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless you. Stay prayed up.
So this surely is another ad for them.
See, that's not repeating the same clip. So he just every Sunday he doesn't say anything of worth. He just says, "God bless you, dap up God, stay prayed up." That's all he says. I'm in the wrong line of work, man. There's a grift to be had here. There's Peter Thiel money to be had.
China, backed by Mark Wahlberg, the Christian prayer app changing the world.
If you had come to me and said, "I want you to invest in a prayer app," pretty sure I would have passed on that. For business reasons, that can't work. But Hallow seems really big to me.
It's all glory to God. But he's done, had you told me like 1,000 people would use this thing, I would have been mind blown. We built it initially just for me.
This is my prayer app. It's just no one prays but me.
If you can get together a team of people.
Why do you need a fucking app to pray? The fundamentally, what's blowing my mind here is Why do you need a fucking app? Why do you need an app? Literally, you're supposed to just pray. It's like a thing between you and God. You're literally talking to God. Why do you need the fucking phone in front of your fucking face to be like, oh, I can talk to God through the phone? No! You're speaking to the cunt. Doesn't make any sense.
Build an app. I'm sure you can just remember to pray every single day.
10,000 people, 1 million people. I think we're at 22 million downloads now.
Oh, that's...
Like 600 million prayers prayed.
Oh, they're literally counting the number of prayers. Oh, this is so fucking sacrilegious. Honest to God. Inshallah.
600 million prayers.
Surely he's going to fill up heaven.
Yeah, there's going to be too many people in there.
Way too many people.
But also, do you get a better spot in heaven if you're responsible for however many million prayers?
I think so. It's like a subscription service. You refer to friend.
It's a pyramid scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme, so...
Glory to God. It's just been a wild ride. He does really cool things when you let him.
That's so insulting. You believe in God and someone...
To be fair, I do very interesting things when you let me as well. Just saying. Sometimes I'll slip in a third finger.
So yeah, God wanted me to be rich. The insinuation is like, why the hell did he not want you to be rich? You watching. Why did God choose this guy?
Stay prayed up. Go check out the Hallow app. Stay prayed up.
Now, if you've got a business like the Hallow app, you're going to be struggling to organize and make sense of the $50 million you're making every year. But lucky for you, you can keep all your business expenses organized with the sponsor of today's video,
Odoo.
Your turn.
Odoo is an all-in-one management software that provides entrepreneurs.
Okay, I'm literally not watching this.
Reject expenses. The managers will integrate annually, but it's hosting and support download. Let's get the Hallow app going. Okay, I mean, I do like the graphic design.
Yeah.
I can see where that $100 million
Wait, you know what it looks so much like?
What?
The font looks similar to... What is an app we used to use a lot?
Tinder?
No, it looks a lot like Hinge.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Hinge.
But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you. What? Does it... What? Hang on a minute. What the fuck? It does... It literally does say that. Holy shit. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you. Okay, I mean, some people are into that. That's, you know. On the back? On the tits? Maybe a full bukkake situation, I don't know.
$100 million.
Wait, you know what it looks so much like?
What?
And the font looks similar to? What is an app we used to use a lot?
Tinder?
No, it looks a lot like Hinge.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Hinge. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you.
It is a lot like Hinge.
It is a lot. It's pretty much exactly like Hinge.
Yeah.
You can join a challenge. You can pray for someone suffering an aggressive cancer.
You can join a... What the fuck is that? Hang on. Hang on. Oh, for fuck. I swear to God. Right.
It's pretty much exactly like Hinge.
Yeah.
You can join a challenge.
The 33-day Marianne consecration. Join St. Miriam... Hang on. Is it Miriam or Miriam? Because they're two different fucking spellings. Miriam James Heidland, SOLT, in making a total consecration of yourself. Oh my God. This is some cult shit, man.
You can pray for someone suffering an aggressive cancer.
This is so aggressive by God.
You could also pay your taxes to fund healthcare. Like, so literally Peter Thiel is spending hundreds of millions to ensure that he doesn't have to pay any tax, but then getting you to pray for the cancer kid that he's refusing to pay tax to give healthcare to. Peter Thiel, you had better hope that the Jesus story is totally made up. Because if that guy, if the camel through the eye of a needle guy actually exists, you are fucked. You are like, they're going to have to build a new circle of hell for you. Like a new special VIP, evil, like, a fucking a lake of fire, but with like a wave machine, just to make absolutely sure.
God.
Yeah, God did this.
To be fair, if I was God controlling the world like Sims, I would do that. We're like, guys, kid's gonna die.
It's so cruel though, because like presumably you made the kid have cancer.
Yeah.
But you have to pray through me to save the kid. You'd be like, show me how much you love me, and I might not kill this kid.
No, but to be fair to God, if he made the universe, he can do whatever he wants. There's no such thing as suffering or any of this, you know?
That's true. Daily trivia?
Oh, yes.
You want to do faith trivia?
Yes, please.
There's 331 people playing, and we only have 11 hours left
Let's
to do
go,
it.
let's go.
Okay. Which of Jesus' cousins was... Oh, shit, it's time! Which of Jesus' cousins was born 6 months before him?
John the Baptist.
I don't think that's his cousin. That's some old man that he met in the desert.
Who are you going?
Simon's kind of funny.
Yeah, go Simon.
Simon.
I think John the Baptist was his cousin, wasn't it? If I remember my Catholicism correctly.
Simon is cousin who's an accountant. Ah, you were right.
I knew it. See, this is why you listen to me.
Okay, well, we don't have time. Okay, tomorrow is the feast of the baptism of the Lord. Where was Jesus baptized by John the Baptist? Galilee is where he's from, right?
Was it the Sea of Galilee? I thought it was the Jordan River. See, now I want to do Bible trivia. Because I do remember some stuff.
Yeah, but I thought it was the Jordan River. Was it not?
I have no idea.
I'm going to the Jordan River.
Yes.
Look how religious I am.
That's 2 out of...
And I'm sure he was baptized by John the Baptist, which is where he gets the name from. It wasn't like he was already nicknamed John the Baptist, and they went, well, if you're getting baptized, it's a bit on the nose, but JTB, get involved. You know what I mean? It was like, no, he baptized Jesus and became known as John the Baptist because he baptized Jesus in the river. From the river to the sea, baptizing is all there'll be.
That's what's going on, dude. You stay prayed up. If Epiphany Sunday falls on or before January 6th, Jesus' baptism is celebrated on the next Sunday. If Epiphany Sunday falls on January 7th or 8th, oh, it's a rule. Okay, it's not asking for the day. They celebrate it together, I think.
Sure.
Or do they like to? I feel like they want to milk your time as much as possible.
I'm going to say the following Monday, but you go.
Following Monday. What?
Yeah. We're doing well.
No, you're doing well. You're undercover. In which year did the Vatican first display a Christmas tree in St. Peter's Square?
Peter's Square in Russia?
I think it's in the Vatican. Hence the Vatican.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I said 1799.
Sure, I got no idea.
I think later, though.
Go 1843.
1982.
Wow.
Well, we didn't actually do that.
1982 was the first Christmas tree, good lord. No, his name wasn't Jean Baptiste. No, although that would be a cool name. What was I going to say? Yeah, interestingly, up until the year 1900, the Vatican used to do a parade through the streets on Christmas of Jesus's foreskin. Literally. I am now going to type in Jesus's foreskin. Oh, that's 43 minutes. The quest for Jesus' foreskin? Fuck it, let's go.
Brought to you by Magic Spoon. Now, if you've watched another channel that I do called Business Place, you'll probably know that I'm a bit of a fan of cereal. I mean, it's not it's just in the cereal. Person, I had to click code don't like, and let's get on with today's video. While there are many relics attributed to Jesus surviving through more modern times, including famed 16th century Catholic priest Erasmus pointing out the large number of buildings that could be built using all the pieces of Jesus' cross that were then around, unlike some other figures in the history of Christendom, relics of Jesus Christ's body itself aren't really a thing. This is, of course, because he and his body ascended to heaven, and apparently nobody thought to collect the holy fingernail clippings or cuttings of his luscious locks and magnificent beard. However, there is one cutting from his body that did purportedly survive through the ages, a piece of his manhood. In fact, this snipping of his member was revered through much of Christian history and even prayed to, including a feast day, January the 1st, where towns that had one would cart it out and celebrate. That is, before the Catholic Church decided maybe they wanted to rethink this particular relic, and in the early 20th century even went so far as to ban any mention of the holy foreskin, despite that it apparently still existed at the time in Calcutta. As the first mention of the survival of Jesus' foreskin, this comes to us thanks to the Syriac infancy gospel, where it states, "And when the time of his circumcision was come, namely the 8th day, on which the law commanded the child to be circumcised, they circumcised him in a cave." And the old Hebrew
In a
woman took the
cave.
foreskin and preserved it in an alabaster blocks of old oil and spikenard, and she had a son who was a druggist, to whom she said, "Take heed thou sell not this alabaster box of spikenard ointment, although thou shouldst be offered 300 pence for it." Now this is that
300 pence. Ooh. I'll give you 3 quid for Jesus's foreskin.
The sinner procured and poured forth the ointment out of it upon the head and feet of our Lord Jesus Christ and wiped it off with the hairs of her head. For those unfamiliar, this particular work is one of the many early church writings that were discarded over time as the church sorted what writings were considered part of Christian canon and which ones should be rejected. If you're curious, while they used various criteria, here in the general case, most of the popular works thought to have been written closest to when Jesus lived became canon, and the others thought to be written later were thrown in the trash. In the end, all the canon works were believed to have been written before 120 AD. As all of the infancy gospels appear to date over 2 centuries or more after Jesus lived, they all went the way of the Star Wars expanded universe stories. And worse than that, unfortunately for those of us who like reading all the details in history, when this happened, many...
Are you saying Jesus' foreskin is the Jar Jar Binks of theology? Because that is true.
Of these other works that in various circles had previously been staples of Christian doctrine were summarily suppressed and occasionally purposefully destroyed to erase record of them. Nevertheless, being rather prevalent, some survived, including the aforementioned bit mentioning
Oh, who painted... I mean, he's put a bird over it, obviously, but, like, some sick bastard painted that. Oh, God, that's disgusting.
Jesus getting snipped, and that the snipping had been saved. As for canon accounts of Jesus' tip being reduced, we have the likes of the Gospel of Luke, where it states, "And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Jesus, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb." Of course, given this lacks any detail, it's speculated by some biblical scholars that the author was probably just assuming this occurred, given Jesus being Jewish and all, and this being the traditional thing done on the 8th day following birth, rather than said author act.
Anyway, you get the idea. Jesus' foreskin. So, you know, the somewhat later adoption of the Christmas tree, the pagan symbol, the Christmas tree, you know, makes a lot of sense. They could have been doing Christmas trees, but at the time they were too busy literally carting around an alabaster box of spikenard ointment that contained Jesus's snipped bell piece. As you do.
Well,
What's good is I'm going to know some crazy trivia questions now.
what's the month of January dedicated to?
The name of Jesus.
Yeah, it sounds like all this religion was created on ChatGPT.
Yeah,
they're just like mixing words, and then you feel smart by like understanding what that means. What the hell does that mean? How do you dedicate a month to someone's name?
I want to do an actual prayer, Alexa.
Well, can we pray with Mark Wahlberg? Category Mark Wahlberg. How to pray?
Yeah, please.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Mark Wahlberg, and it's a privilege to be your guide for today's How to Pray session.
Sick.
We're focusing this first week on learning how to
Sick.
pray, how to listen for God's voice.
Okay.
We've talked about how to listen to God through scripture, through the meditation of the rosary, and through our imagination. You may already know I have a pretty intense morning routine.
I love you've made a prayer app. You still got to like flex.
I think he's doing this to build like a fake relationship with the audience, to be like, because this feels a little bit intimate. I feel like I'm on a phone call with Mark Wahlberg.
It's kind of like
he's on
ASMR as well.
Speakerphone. So that's what he's doing. He's saying, you guys know me really well.
But the most important part.
No, well, the tradition, as in terms of it being Christianity, did start in roughly the same time you mentioned there in Germany. But the actual idea of there being a winter solstice, or not winter solstice, but a winter practice of bringing trees and plants into your house was a pagan thing. It was a Norse thing. The Norse were animists, for those who don't know. They did have gods as well. But they were animists, which basically means that they thought that everything had a life force, right? So including plants, animals, humans, the sea, the sky, everything had like a force or a soul to an extent, a life force. And that human beings were just a part of that. It's actually quite a cool thing. It's the idea of you interact with this. You're not meant to like destroy these things. The killing and eating of an animal isn't some act of evil or whatever. It's you interacting with nature, and then when you die, you go into the ground and you nourish the ground. It's like the cycle of life type thing, right? And so, in order to protect the spirit or the life force of the plants over the course of the very harsh northern European winters, they would bring trees and plants into the home to protect them. Now, whether that actually really worked or whatever, it was still like a part of their existence, right? It was a thing that they did. And eventually, over the course of time, they begin to decorate these things to make them look nice, because people prefer nice things that look nice in their house. And so that then translates into what we now know as the Christmas tree. So yeah, it is obviously done by Christians now, but it didn't start as a Christian thing.
Part of that routine by far is getting down on my hands and my knees and giving thanks to God for all the gifts he's given.
It's so homoerotic. It's so fucking homoerotic. You can't go on about the fucking Holy Spirit coming on you and then be like, I'm on my fucking hands and knees. I'm ready for you to squirt all over me, Holy Spirit. Skeet skeet that holy water.
Give it me. Everything good in my life comes directly from my relationship with God.
I feel like it's slightly easier for Mark Wahlberg to thank God.
100%.
Because he just gave him like $20 million.
But also, he's a horrible actor. He's not even very attractive, and he's bought a $100 million house. So this man, out of all people, should be like, why has this happened to me? God must be real.
Imagine the poor sap paying fucking $60 to do this. Who are you thanking? God just took $60 from you.
Gave it to Mark Wahlberg.
Music, radio, chant. Maybe we should chant.
Let's try chant. I want something that they say, do this, I repeat it.
There is something genuinely fucking awesome about that old school chanty shit. Because, like, it doesn't even matter what they're saying. It just sort of sounds slightly otherworldly. Like, I get, especially if you imagine, right, people would hear that kind of chanting in, like, a big fucking domed cathedral place or a church with a fucking big nave and all this kind of stuff. And the echo of that would have sounded like the voice of God speaking to you. Like, I get why people were cowed by the power of this institution and what it supposedly represented, you know. There's something awe-inspiring or fear-inspiring, maybe? Yeah. But a cheeky bit of Gregorian chant or even like Byzantine chanting and stuff, yeah. It's fucking amazing.
That's awesome. You can get this for free on Spotify. It's just a collection of like...
You can get it for free, yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what they offer on this. Either you don't need it because you're supposed to just pray between you and God, or you can get like the chanting and shit or the trivia online. Why are you paying $60 to Mark Wahlberg for this?
ebooks.
The things that are going to be so boring. I thought the point of an app was you're making this fun and different. No, you just brought the boring priest into my phone.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like a new way of getting like heaven points, you know, like a game, karaoke.
That'd be cool. I think that's a Filipino app. How do you want to pray, Alex?
Well, how do I want to pray for this child.
Join the campaign.
I would like to join the
You
campaign.
pay extra?
Pray today session, sick.
Is this what you do? You know when you see those Facebook things and be like, 1 like equals 1 prayer, and it's like an AI image of like a drowning girl with like a little sign saying, it's my birthday. This is it. This is what like the old people who are liking, then they're doing this.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Yep.
Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
Did the kid do something wrong? Pray for this sinner.
They are.
Yeah, well, you're born sinful. That's the Catholic way. 100 Bible trivia questions. Again, this is free. Okay. God called Noah to a unique and important task. In anticipation of the great flood he would send upon the earth, God appointed Noah to build an ark to preserve his family and to every kind of animal. Of what wood was God... Hang on, you're already telling me the answer. I wanted to guess. Well, you've literally got the answer in fucking bold. Oh, well, that's fucking bullshit. Look, all the answers are there. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, it's free.
Like, you must have sinned in some way.
Yeah.
And we're asking for forgiveness for this child.
But also, this isn't even about the child. It's like they have a backlog of like 3-minute audio recordings of someone talking.
Yeah.
And then they just like slap on a picture of a child. They're like, oh, this one's different. This one's for the child.
No, I think they're going to say his name eventually, right?
Lennox.
Yeah.
Holy Mary, Mother of God,
Holy Mary.
pray for us sinners.
Are we repeating
now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Okay, next one.
Holy
Mary, Mother of God,
pray for us sinners.
Now and the hour of our death.
Amen.
Amen.
So we just say it again.
Hail Mary, full of grace,
the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women,
and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God,
pray for us sinners.
now and at the hour of our death.
You were right. There is no mention.
No, it's complete it's complete content.
You know, it's called the Decade of the Rosary. So you do 10 rosaries, or 10. It's fucking it's not that complicated, but essentially the different beads represent different prayers, and so you're supposed to do like 10 Hail Marys, and then there's a Our Father or whatever, and then there's Hail Marys and Our Father, and it kind of goes round. Technically, you can just carry on doing the rosary forever and ever and ever. And I think the Catholic Church are okay with that, in all honesty. And that's bad.
Farming. It is just the worst parts of Facebook, but you pay for it. 109 sessions prayed. That's not a lot.
I'm sorry, this kid's dying.
Only 109 of you fucking Catholics care. I mean,
yeah. They said 22 million people have downloaded this app, and 109. That is a ratio, kid. You are dead. You are fucking dead.
to be fair, you're not doing anything for the kid, but like still. We can read the Bible. Okay. I don't want to do that. Pray together as a community. Pray with friends and family. Join your parish.
Yes, join my parish.
Church by city. No result. You want to make the first fucking church in Sydney?
Yeah.
Best church
in Sydney.
In Sydney.
Oh, we can make a prayer. The safety and security of immigrants to the USA. I'm praying for that. No one has prayed on this.
Of course they fucking haven't. Oh, that's amazeballs.
Well, I think they'd pick their audience, right?
We're doing the first prayer.
In this litany, we will learn to rely less on ourselves and more on Jesus. We'll place all our trust in him.
No. So none of it is custom to the cause.
No, they just have a bank of prayers, and then you make a campaign saying pray for this, and then you just pray about something completely different.
This is just such a scam. We should create a prayer request
and see how many people join it.
For who it is for the Boy Boy YouTube channel. What is the story behind your campaign?
We would like to get bigger on YouTube so we can share the good word, and they don't know which good word it is. Let's take a photo.
Oh yeah. I really hope this video goes live while the campaign is still there. We'll redo the campaign and let's get number 1.
Yes, we're gonna be the most prayed for. Although I'd rather you guys join our Patreon than pay $60 for this shit.
Well, I'd rather you subscribe to my channel, or do bits messages, or super chat, or become a member on the YouTubes. These are all things you can do. Don't give money to Boy, who are very rich already. Actually, they're probably not that rich, but they they do all right. And definitely don't give money to fucking Mark Wahlberg and Peter Thiel. Jesus Christ.
A struggling YouTube channel.
So that's what it's like. It's like they're listening to our prayer, praying for us. So we don't even have to pray now.
765 million prayers prayed with Hallow. I mean, this is deceptive. Does this count what we did as praying? Just pressing play on a video?
This seems like a loophole.
That is what this is. It's like a technological workaround to like your obligations as a believer in God. Sitting in silence with God.
For the first 3 sessions, we'll practice spending time with God in silence.
All right, let's start.
You have to... who practices sitting in silence? That's literally fine.
It doesn't, it's fake content.
No.
It's like us making a video, be silent with us. And everyone's like, oh, I've got a fucking great video. This really helped me be silent.
Austin,
you know, I think why this is so shit?
Why?
Because they're competing with God's real app.
What?
Click to pray. Welcome to the Pope's official prayer platform.
Let us pray for migrants, refugees, and those affected by war, building a better world, creating bridges instead of walls. So this is...
The Pope has gone woke. Official.
It's like
this is what I wanted.
Layman's talk.
Do you even have to pay for this one?
No. This is starting much better, much stronger.
Causa de las guerras, las migraciones y la pobreza.
I did.
Unos 250 millones de niños y niñas.
I did see the Muslimic farages, and they're very funny. They're in the Discord.
Niñas carecen de instrucción.
Mark Wahlberg's a piece of shit. If he's trying to take the Catholics away from this, that's insane.
But also, they made a free app that you don't have to pay for.
Dude, you can share
Communist.
your prayers. That's crazy that a free one already exists. That's actually the Pope.
Yeah.
He's doing God communism. It's outrageous.
Pope Francis, official prayer profile. He doesn't post that much.
War-torn Ukraine.
For the victims of the air crash in South Korea.
And also, I like it. He's not just American Central.
Yeah.
He did Mozambique.
I like this.
It's simpler.
It's free and it gives you what to read. That's the click to pray app. 1,000,000 times better. Let's look at the reviews of the app. Let's see what people actually think of it. Hallow. These people profiting are of God's word should be ashamed of yourself. If Mark Wahlberg is also making a profit, he bought a $100 million house, he should be ashamed. Also, I thought he was a strong Catholic. He doesn't certainly need the money. When Jesus used to preach, did he charge people? Now we have people using his name and his word to make money.
Here we go.
Or 1 star. Since the update, this app is losing functions left, right, and center. Crashes, won't play selections, blank screens. Now I can't even log in. Have un and reinstalled, turned phone on and off, deleted caches, emailed support. Nothing works. I mean, did you think about praying about it? Nothing works.
True.
All the reviews about refunds and difficulties canceling subscriptions. I hope I don't have to go down that path.
Imagine how bad you'd feel. You're a Christian, you just want to pray to God, and now you're doing something like sacrilegious by like canceling your subscription.
Yeah.
They have come up with a good platform of like guilting people into it.
Literally, yeah. Like, that... Jesus fuck. Like, surely, if you believe in divine intervention in some respect, because you're literally praying for, like, a cancer baby to not die, so you think that God, like, intervenes in that way. Very oddly, but he does, apparently. Surely, the app not working is a pretty good signal that the J-Man does not want you to does not want you to pray via this method at the very least. Is that not the clearest symbol possible from God that he's not happy with your choices?
Dude, if we could say, if you don't sign up to our Patreon, you're going to hell, that's crazy. I feel like we'd go to jail if we said that.
No,
we're
we
like,
can say that.
You'll be tortured for all eternity if you don't buy my product.
Yeah, exactly. And if you cancel,
that's even worse.
Horrendous.
I tried to cancel my subscription, but it just puts me in an endless circle of the same instructions. I haven't used it, and now I can't get out of it. I guess I'll have to close my PayPal account so they can't charge me again. Fuck, how am I going to get out of this? This is going to destroy the channel. I've done one video, but I'm potentially paying for this for all eternity. This is a great concept for an app. The major downside being that much of the content is pay to unlock. Not only that, but the charge is about 95 AU view per year. If the goal is to make the gospel accessible to all, this app is not achieving it. I can personally afford it once I cut back in some other areas, but I would be more comfortable knowing the money went to the church, tithing, or directly helping those with less. Instead, it seems like a system profiting off our faith instead of breaking down Barry's squad. I love this.
Well, it's good that people know what they're doing.
Yeah, the app is radicalizing. Everyone's just like, why the fuck am I paying Mark Wahlberg for a sound bank, like for a soundboard of Jesus quotes?
That's so funny.
And there's a free one.
This is great. Well, who do you think wins?
I like the Pope app.
I like the Pope app.
Click to pray. If you want the boy endorsement for a Catholic prayer app, click to pray a million times ahead.
100% better.
It's nicer in that it like talks about refugees and like people who are in poverty. Yeah. There's other ones just like an AI generated white kid.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's nice that you can see other people praying, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what you're meant to be able to see with this. It just gives you a little counter.
Yeah, I don't like this one.
Now, you could spend $60 a year on this prayer app, which is just a collection of MP3 files that you can get on Spotify for free.
Yep.
Or you could pay the same amount to go to our Patreon, where the things are actually...
Well, no adverts for you. Pope's just competing on the free marketplace of ideas. Exactly, he's the free marketplace of ideas, the Pope. Which is a new concept for popes. They were not big on the old free marketplace of ideas back in the day. Ask Galileo. And he won't tell you because he was made to be silent. Okay, we're going to go over to Katie Montgomery on the YouTubes. There you go. And who is going on Twitch that I can send everybody over to? Might well be on with No Justice tomorrow for question time is what I was trying to think of. There we go. Who is this person? I don't know who they are. I'm going to send you over to Zach app on the Twitch machines. Go and say hello to Zach app, who is Australian. So, keeping thematic there. Anyway. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Thank you, everyone, for, just being awesome. And you are awesome. I'll be back tomorrow. Probably relatively late, if it's the question time. And, yeah, free Palestine. No passing around.
How are you all doing?